Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of whatever this series is called. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Gary Reviews Creepy Figurines. Today, we're going to be looking at a My Hero Academia haul that I got from Japan. The 3 figures that I did get from Japan, 2 were villains, and then 1 is a gray area. He's not a villain, obviously, but he looks like it, and he's a very creepy design, and so I really like that form, but we'll get to that later. That's one of my favorite ones. But for now, we got 2 villains that I want to bring out right now. So the 2 villains we got today are Shigaraki on the left side and Dabi on the right side. We have some figurines of Dabi with his black hair. We don't have any of his new form, quote unquote. So I'm not going to go any further, so don't spoil anything, but this is the newer version of Dabi that we have, and this is also the newer version of Shigaraki that is post All for One. So it's a complete form, it's his most powerful form. I believe I've only caught up on the anime, have not read the manga, so we'll see. But as far as right now, as far as my knowledge, these are the newest versions of these characters, and let's go ahead and unbox them. So we'll go ahead and start with Shigaraki. The box, same old, just pictures of the figurine from different positions, different lighting. Has the background with like a smoke texture behind it. All of these that I'm going to show off today were purchased in Japan when we took our trip out there to go see Anthony. And I believe this figurine has the price on the front. It was 2,500 yen, so it was about $20, like $16, somewhere around that range in USD. And so not expensive at all for how good the figurine looks. Oh, there he is. Okay, that's the best way to unbox. No creases. But we'll go ahead and move the box over here. This Shigaraki figurine came out super nice. The thing that Bandai has been doing really well on, at least from what I can tell when they make anime figurines, is the attention to detail in all the smaller areas that you wouldn't expect them to. Same thing happened with the Berserk figurine. Usually small pieces of the figurine tend to get lost in quality control. The paint's bad, or it's not super detailed. It happens in the fingers, it happens in the hair, it happens in the facial features. Every single Bandai toy figurine that I have received so far have been flawless. But without further ado, let's go ahead and check out the figurine. He comes with a black base that he just attaches onto. Nothing special with that, just helps him stand up. I do like some of the figurines that have like a dedicated base that looks like it's part of a battlefield or something like that. But it was only 2,500 yen, and the figurine looks so good that I overlooked that. So he has his flowing cape design. He has his battle damage on his arm because he's still recovering. He has his fingers are curled back like that underneath his cape. He's got his armor on, I guess you would say. He's got huge armor pieces on his thighs that go down to his leg, to his knee, and then he has his big boots with the spikes coming out the back. He's lost all of his hands because he's awakened, I guess, and he's at his full power now. This is where he has the longer white hair that kind of comes in front of his face, and he's kind of come into his own. And so one thing I was saying before is the attention to detail on his body is fantastic. The waves in the cape are really nice. I really like a dynamic figure to where obviously they can't move, they can't do anything, but I don't know how to describe it, but it's very nice to look at. You look like you're staring at an anime footage, not just a figurine standing still. It looks very dynamic, I guess I would say. But I'll go ahead and do a close-up of his face and get some B-roll of his face, because his face is fantastic. The little attention to detail, there is absolutely no bleeding on the paint. There's no mark. The position he's in, where he has his head has his head tilted back. He has his head tilted forward while he's side-eyeing you with a huge grin on his face. He has the scar on his lip, the like piercing red eyes. Usually stuff like that are so small would fall under the radar, but again, they executed it perfectly. Again, no bleed. Everything is exactly how it's supposed to be. So usually I'll do some reviews on how the paint job is, quality control, stuff like that. That'll be one section. How it portrays its anime counterpart, like does it do justice to the anime and does it capture the character we fell in love with in video form and figurine. And then I'll usually talk about overall design. When it comes to capturing the look from anime into figurine form, they nailed it. Again, the body language says a lot about the character, and I think the body language in this figure, with its with the dynamic motion of the cape, how he has his hands curled back in the back, the malicious smile with the scars and the side eyeing, the way they made this figure, and then again the quality control helps execute that better. It's 100% 10 out of 10 for doing the character justice based off the anime. The figurine itself has no issues whatsoever. No bleeding, no cuts, no messed up smaller appendages. So like any smaller pieces aren't. There's no loss in quality in any piece of this figurine. So I'd say for that, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. The last one is the figurine in general. Like, what would I improve on it? What would I rate the figurine in general? It's a very basic figurine, obviously. It's only 2,500 yen. It's not meant to be a crazy big display piece. It's just supposed to represent the character on a stand in the best light possible. And so for this one, I say the figurine was super well done, but I think to elevate this, even if it's a little bit, make it the scene that he had where he finally awakened his quirk and he was standing on a single pillar with a giant hole all around him because he decayed the entire city. I think that would be really, really cool if they switched out the stand that he's on for just like a pillar, like a small pillar of some sort, to show off that effect of his awakening. And so we'll go ahead and move on to the next villain in the series. One of fan favorites that is definitely getting the limelight nowadays in the new season, Dabi. Post black hair, I guess you want to say, just so I don't spoil anything. So we got the Dabi figurine. He was about 2,500 yen as well, 16 to 20 bucks or so. We have the black-haired version of Dabi, but because the white hair symbolizes so much, which you will see in the anime if you haven't seen it, we wanted to get a white hair version. And also, I don't know if you can tell, but we kind of have a thing for white-haired gentlemen in this house. So here it is, the Dabi figurine. Great figurine in my opinion. I think it really captures him well. I do see some little bit of quality control issues in his hair because he's so spiky haired. So some of the crevices didn't get a full paint. The attention to detail in the fingers and just the smaller pieces, the stitches on his jacket, the wrinkles in his pants, the like marks in his shoes, the wrinkles in his burnt skin, and the stitches on his hands and his eyes and his chin, just to keep his skin together. Like, there's a lot of details, small details in this that they really execute really well. So I'd say again, the face is a huge highlight in these figurines. The faces are just phenomenal. Again, there's no issue with the face. I think they really focus on attention to detail when getting the face correct, because as figure collectors know, if there's a slight hiccup on any figurine, like the eye is slightly too high to the right, the entire figurine looks dumb sometimes. I'd say quality control, maybe a 9 out of 10. because again, everything looks fantastic. There's no bleeding at all. There's no cuts on the plastic. Everything is how it should be. The only issue I would say, the only reason why I give it a 9 out of 10 is because the little issues in the hair. But again, it's in the back of his head, and it's very particular because I'm staring directly at it up close. But other than that, you will never notice a thing on this figurine. How true is the figurine to the source material and the character? I'd say at least for this specific positioning, it's his. I know I said it for Shigaraki as well, but Dabi has a awakening moment, not for his quirk, but it's like, I'm trying to figure out how to say it. It's his time to shine as a villain and as a character that matters. Everybody in My Hero Academia has an arc that they make you care about the character, even if you maybe wouldn't have otherwise. At least in my opinion, they do. And he was always like an oddball character that was very fan favorite, but he was mysterious. You didn't know much about him. And at this point, the white hair represents the truth coming out, his master plan behind the scenes, behind everybody, finally coming to fruition. The position of like, he knows he's won. I know I'm putting a lot into this, but I like to think about these things when I see the figures. That's why I enjoy the figures so much. Just him basically gloating, and I'm pretty sure I remember a scene similar to this when he's looking at Endeavor and basically laughing at him in pain and in shock and stuff like that. So I feel like this captures that pretty well. Just because he's not doing much, he's only doing that, you still get a lot of personality just out of this positioning of his body, his hands, his face, his eyes. Category overall figurine design, base platform could be a little more dynamic. Maybe some blue flames going around it. It wouldn't even be that much of a problem. Just it would be a nice inclusion to the whole figurine. I think that'd be really cool. I know technically that's only there to hold him up, but it's there, so I figured it would be a cool add-on to have for him. I think adding flames in certain areas, like the base, like I was talking about, and also maybe his hands, stuff like that would be really cool. I think his hands are missing that. Like, it would be really cool to have the flames coming out. He's just a cool-ass character. Like, he's super cool. Okay, now time for the last one. And this figurine, I was looking, when I went to Japan, this was one of the figurines I was looking for specifically. And I'm a little upset because I ended up finding him online for pre-order today during this recording for as much as the Berserk figurine. But the only thing that changes is that this is the metallic version of it. So I'm still gonna count it as a win, and it has a story behind it with Japan, so I don't care. But without further ado, I absolutely love Vigilante Deku. So, not gonna spoil too much. Like I said, this is already kind of some spoilers, but you won't know. If you know, you know. But I'll show pictures of Vigilante Deku in the anime and how he was drawn. And there's certain pictures that I love. It's so creepy. It says so much about the character, this bright character that's always smiling, never stops smiling, finally having his will broken and becoming this character for basically sacrificing himself and his principles to look out for other people and to try to help everybody. And so the character itself, I love the way they portrayed it. I love the transfer from him being who he was to being basically a monster. It's called his Vigilante arc, so it's Vigilante Deku. So moving on to the figurine, he hasn't rested, he hasn't showered, he hasn't done anything for weeks, if not months. And so he has his backpack, he eats, he fights villains, and that's about it. And so, like, he has his backpack here, he has his cape that's all shattered, and they're not shattered, but torn up and thrashed and wrinkly to all hell, dirty. Like, he has that, he has the backpack that's all torn up, he has his knee pad area that's Again, the whole theme of this one is sharp, edgy, like just torn up, spiky, edgy look. His gloves start to decay and he starts having like claws coming out of his gloves. Same thing for he has his black whip coming out his back, so he has that going for him, where I think something about his black whip is becoming more autonomous, so he can basically, black whip will defeat people for him while he's just, so it kind of shows that a little bit to where he's kind of just looking to the side. His boots become these giant claws, like these metal claw looking things. So yeah, the whole figurine itself is based off a broken hero that has literally given everything but his life to protect people. And so the character is really cool, and the dynamic and the character building is really, really cool. And I think this figurine captured all that very, very well. And again, this is the one I was looking for specifically when I went to Japan. Again, like I said, this one's the metallic. I keep wanting to say metallic version. I don't honestly know why there's different versions. That is something I'll leave up to you guys, because I have no clue. Because I know they have the regular, they have the metallic, and they have the black and white. I'm assuming they just have it like Funkos, or they're special editions, or through different shops. So I'll leave that up to you guys. But I chose the metallic version specifically because I did find the other one, and I think the metallic version just really accents the raggedness of the character's outfit and the design that they're trying to portray. And metallic is just cool, let's be honest. This one is a very hard one to judge on quality control, because he's so ragged and torn up and like dirty. So it's like, it's supposed to look like that, so it's hard to find irregularities. I would say personally that every bit of inconsistency in his outfit is on purpose. Nothing seems like it's out of place, like, oh, there's a chip in the paint there, oh, there's a mess up here. Everything is 100% meant to be where it is. Going back to what I said, positioning is one thing, but also the outfit could be another thing. Maybe I'm just looking into it a little too much, but I think his positioning, his side stare, I also didn't talk about his eyes. His eyes are perfect underneath the mask, having that side stare, because I remember specifically in the anime, there was a point where he doesn't even have the time to bother with All Might. He just turns his head as he's trying to walk away and says like 2 words to him, or just gives him a stare. And so I think that really shows a lot in this character. It's the like get away from me vibe, I guess you could say. How I would rate the figurine in general, how would I improve it maybe? Overall, I think the figurine is really well done. I don't see a lot that they can really add to it. I'm pretty sure they have a figurine like this already, but I'll mention it regardless. They have a figurine of him in a more feral position. So he's hunched over, his arms are like, they feel so heavy. It looks like they feel so heavy. And he's just hunched over and his arms are hanging down with the big claws hanging down from his gloves. And so I think making a little more dynamic motion in this character specifically would add even more to the already deep storytelling that the figurine and position already has, and it has a lot to go off of. Honestly, I've never seen figurines on this level of quality, including the Berserk figurine, the Deku, Dabi, Shigaraki. That's why they have so many high ratings. Like, I've never seen quality like these, because I'm used to other things that are not as good quality. A lot of the American toys don't have the best quality control. So coming from that to this is a huge jump, and I think they should get credit for that. Credit where credit is due. Their figures come out fantastic. I think there's no better picture than to have them towering over him as a looming threat. But yeah, these are the 3 My Hero Academia figures, all the villain arcs, and then the Vigilante. Some of my favorite figures of all time. My Hero Academia is one of my favorite shows, and I can't wait to finish the rest of the collections. I have more waiting. So we'll see when I open those. I thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you being here. I know it's a little different than what you're usually used to seeing, but hopefully you're enjoying the spooky month and all of October, and see you guys in the next video.